This is CBS News Bay Area with Juliette Goodrich.
Hi, I'm Sarah Donchie in for Juliette Goodrich alongside sports director Vern Glenn. Willie Mays was one of baseball's greatest players and oldest living Hall of Famer. He personified the joy of the game and was known for his basket catches and his dashes around the bases with his cap flying off. Tonight, we remember the Say Hey Kid. Willie Mays has died at the age of 93. In a joint statement with the Giants, his family said he passed peacefully, surrounded by loved ones. Just 2 days before a game between the Giants and St. Louis Cardinals to honor the Negro Baseball League at Rickwood Field in Birmingham, Alabama. Again, our Vern Glenn joining me now to reflect on just the legend of this incredible player in person.
Birmingham, Alabama, where his greatness began. His high school didn't even have a baseball team. So he just displayed his athleticism and, again, his love for the game, his glass half full attitude, his presence. When he walked in the room, you knew he was there. And then that cackle all through the room that people would just look, because you could really kind of feel just how much he loved the game. He loved being around people. He loved telling stories. And he gave me a nickname, Sarah. He called me Pee-wee. There's a story behind that later in the show. But Willie Mays, just, in my mind, the greatest five-tool player. Hit with power, run, throw, field. He was great. Let's honor the man.
Here's a pitch to Willie. Swung on, hit deep to left. That one is way back. Well, that's number 600 for Willie Mays.
To say Willie Mays was a great baseball player is an understatement. You cannot mention the five greatest players of all time without bringing him in the discussion. Born in 1931, the son of a steel mill worker, Mays learned the game at an early age, and although his Alabama high school had no baseball team, it was clear that sport would define him. At 16, he was playing for the Birmingham Black Barons of the Negro Leagues. The day after he graduated from high school, he signed with the New York Giants, and by age 20 was in the majors playing games at the Polo Grounds. That was 1951. His career was briefly put on hold for 2 years because of military service. By 1954, he was back in a baseball uniform doing what he did best. His over-the-shoulder catch in the '54 World Series win over Cleveland is still considered by many the greatest catch in the history of the game. He was the National League's most valuable player in 1954.
I think I've got you. Did you hit your 31st home run today? Do you play center field? Are you Say Hey Willie Mays?
It was his bat that did a lot of the talking. For 8 years running, he drove in over 100 runs. His 660 career home runs is fourth all-time. His career batting average was .302. By 1958, the Giants had moved from New York to San Francisco.
From the wonderful world of sports, we bring you Home Run Derby.
High fly ball into right center field. This may go all the way. It's way back there and gone into the right center field bleachers.
He led them to the 1962 World Series and became team captain in 1964. That was followed by another MVP award in 1965. Almost 40 years after he retired in 1973 as a New York Met, he was considered baseball's greatest living ball player, a label of which he took offense.
I never liked that. Well, if you're the greatest ball player, you just say you're the greatest ball player, rather not the living ball player. What good is that? I heard that when I first heard it. I don't know if you were around. When I first heard it, I said, well, wait a minute. You mean I got to be passed away before you guys give you credit for doing something?
He was inducted to the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1979.
I arrived in New York City on a Friday at 4 o'clock, scared to death with 3 bats in my little briefcase, my glove. I didn't have a uniform. I didn't have a hat. Leo said to me, son, as long as I'm manager, you are my center fielder. You do not have to hit. Just go out and catch the ball. And from those words from Leo DeRocha, I think, gave me a little courage.
When AT&T Park first opened, a landmark statue was erected in his honor at 3rd and King Streets in San Francisco. By then, his godson, Barry Bonds, was setting home run records of his own. When Bonds passed Mays on the career home run list, Mays was there to pass on the torch.
It's no secret how special you are to me. and I'm thank you for your love, guidance, and support of me all these years. And while my dad isn't here to celebrate with me, it means the world to me that you are, and I love you.
After San Francisco won the World Series in 2010, Mays returned to New York to share the title with Giant fans there. The Polo Grounds Stadium is gone, but the streets where he once played stickball is there.
He could throw and he could field, hit for contact and for power, and of course he was so fast he could barely keep a hat on his head.
Willie Mays, the Say Hey Kid.
Say hey, say who, say Willie, that giant kid is great.
His position in the history of baseball will live on forever. There is activity going on right now at Rickwood Field, where he made his greatness, down in Birmingham, Alabama, where he grew up. There's Dusty Baker is there. His godson, Barry Bonds, is there. And we were talking off camera. What player today would play like Barry Bonds? Just five-tool player, just could do it all. But there's activity going there today, tomorrow. The Giants fly in and play the Cardinals on Thursday. All of this in homage to the man that is gone this afternoon.
Yeah, this news just broke just a little while ago. Lauren Toms is out at Oracle Park right now near Willie Mays Plaza. Obviously, Lauren, I think fans need a little bit of time to make their way in, but you've seen a couple people stop by already?
Yeah, Sarah, we have tributes are already pouring out for Willie Mays here at Willie Mays Plaza beneath the statue of the Say Hey Kid. We've seen people come out to place flowers and say a prayer, share their thoughts about what Willie Mays means to them. And we're seeing the impact, the multi-generational impact of Willie Mays here. People are coming out with their families, and one of those fans is with me right now. I'm joined by Jelani Adams. Jelani, what brought you out here today?
You know, coincidentally, we were here for a family vacation, happened to be across the street at Lucky Strike to try to do some bowling, looked up at the TV screen, it said that Willie Mays had passed away. Couldn't believe it. It was a bit of an eerie feeling, especially having direct eye line sight, you know, of his statue here in front of Oracle Park. So just a sad day.
What does the legend, the impact of Willie Mays really mean to you?
I mean, former NL MVP, I think 24 All-Star appearances. The list goes on in terms of the accolades that he racked up. I will admit, I'm a diehard Dodger fan, but you have to respect what that man did. And then when you talk about, particularly as a black athlete during the time that he played on the eve of Juneteenth, you cannot ignore the fact that Willie Mays definitely paved the way for a lot of the athletes that you see today, especially in the MLB, Mookie Betts being one. He's a legend.
He is a legend at that. Jelani, thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it. And we're starting to see more and more families here at Willie Mays Plaza show up. We've seen a couple people get on one knee, bow their heads, really just show their appreciation for the legend that is Willie Mays. And this, like I said earlier, his legend spans generations, and he is and will always be a huge part of the fabric, not only of the Giants, but of fans across the Bay Area, Sarah.
Yeah, Lauren, wow, what a prolific statement from
We looked at each other
fan.
when he brought up the eve of Juneteenth.
Right.
News like that.
Yeah, and to his point, he said he's a Dodgers fan. Obviously, this news is reverberating across Major League Baseball and across sports. Reaction pouring in from all over the place. Ann Makovic joining us now from the newsroom with some of that tonight.
Yeah, we are hearing from both Willie Mays' real family and his Giants family. But first, within the past hour, the announcement coming from Rickwood Field. That is where Willie played his first games in the Negro League in Birmingham, Alabama.
It's with great sadness that we announce that Giants legend, Hall of Famer, Willie Mays has passed away at the age of 93. And here we are in a celebration in a ballpark where he got his start as a 17-year-old playing for the Black Barons. He was 17 when he joined them. And they won the Negro League American League that year. Willie Mays has passed away.
All All right, back at home, San Francisco Mayor London Breed releasing a statement over the past half hour saying to a native San Franciscan, some things just go without question. It's foggy in the summer, cable cars go halfway to the stars, and Willie Mays is the best there ever was. Willie Mays meant so much to this city as a player, but also as a leader, staying involved in San Francisco and the Giants organization long after he retired from the game he loved. Willie Mays will forever be the greatest of Giants in the story of San Francisco. The Giants releasing a statement from Mays' son, Michael, saying, I want to thank you from the bottom of my broken heart for the unwavering love you have shown him over the years. You have been his life's blood. Larry Baer, the Giants president and CEO, remembered Mays saying, I fell in love with baseball because of Willie, plain and simple. My childhood was defined by going to Candlestick with my dad, watching Willie patrol center field with grace and the ultimate athleticism. Over the past 30 years, working with Willie and seeing firsthand his zest for life and unbridled passion for giving to young players and kids has been one of the joys of my life. And Giants chairman Greg Johnson saying today we have lost a true legend in the pantheon of baseball greats. Willie Mays' combination of tremendous talent, keen intellect, showmanship, and boundless joy set him apart. The 24-time All-Star, the Say Hey Kid, is the ultimate forever Giant. He had a profound influence not only on the game of baseball, but on the fabric of America. He was an inspiration and a hero who will be forever remembered and deeply missed. Also, MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred remembering Willie Mays with a statement saying, in part, his incredible achievements and statistics do not begin to describe the awe that came with watching Willie Mays dominate the game in every way imaginable. We will never forget this true Giant off and on the field. Thursday's game at historic Rickwood Field was designed to be a celebration of Willie Mays and his peers. With sadness in our hearts, it will now also serve as a national remembrance of an American who will forever remain on the short list of the most impactful individuals our great game has ever known. We are going to keep bringing you remembrances all night. Please share your memories with us by tagging us at KPIX. Sarah.
Mm-hmm. All right there, Ann. This is one of those things where we all will know where we were when we heard the news of the passing of Willie Mays, just how he just touched everybody. And those statements were powerful statements. And many of those native San Franciscans who grew up and revered the man would show up to games, maybe standing on the pier, and you just kind of get a glimpse of him. And Mays, to his credit, would acknowledge as many of them as he could, because that was the way the guy was.
When we come back, more reaction to the passing of a baseball legend. A former San Francisco mayor and Willie Mays' friend checks in, and we'll talk about his place in baseball history. Stay with us.
The great Willie Mays. In 1957, he came to town when the Giants relocated to San Francisco. The ball player wanted to buy a home near Mount Davidson, but his offer was rejected. The homeowner said he felt pressured by his white neighbors. City and civil rights officials intervened. The homeowner relented, and Mays bought the home.
Welcome back to continuing coverage of Willie Mays. And there is the man, one of the many images we see of him with fans, the smile on his face. We're going to go now to a man who interviewed him countless times. It is Marty Lurie. And Marty, you are in Birmingham, Alabama. You were at Rickwood Field earlier today. Just paint the picture for me, Marty. What was it like down there when the news came out?
Well, certainly, Vern, being at Rickwood Field is so ironic to be here on this day. I was not at Rickwood when the news actually came out, but boy, since it has come out, they did the tribute at Rickwood. Of course, the minor league game is on MLB tonight with Rich Waltz doing that game with Chris Young, and I got the text immediately from Rich about the awful news. So Being here at Rickwood Field is something because the game Thursday is coming up, and all the tributes to Willie are all over Rickwood Field. And then to be at Rickwood Field tonight and to walk out on the field and realize that's where Willie played center field as a high school kid. And then I was at the Negro Southern League Museum today in Birmingham. And, of course, there's a beautiful tribute to Willie there. Because Willie's career started when his dad used to drive him to Chattanooga to play in the Southern League for the Chattanooga Choo-Choos while Willie was a 10th grader. And then he was so good that the Black Barons saw him up there and said, no, you've got to play here in Birmingham. So to be part of this today and this whole connection, then to hear the news, it's just Willie had that sense of a great moment. And he picked a great moment today. And it's a tremendous loss for everybody who knew him, everyone who saw him play, and everyone who knew him in his later life. He was a wonderful man. And, look, I'm a kid from Brooklyn. And who would have ever thought that he would have chosen me to be his interviewer on the numerous shows that we did in front of countless audiences. And losing Willie is a bad blow for everybody. And I've gotten texts and tweets from people all over the world today talking about Willie. So it's a great loss. It is. And Thursday night, this game will be dedicated to Willie. And believe me, the crowd will certainly be on its feet with a lot of heavy hearts.
Well, you just gave us volumes of information and reaction, Marty, from the countless times that you were with him. If I could just leave you with this, if you could just share with me maybe just the one nugget that you were able to get out of him, because you could pull things out of an interview that a lot of these other writers and scribes couldn't.
Well, a couple of things. One, Willie was a great showman, had a great sense of humor. He was the nicest guy in the world. He understood when you'd bring someone in to meet him. When my son Aaron would come in, he'd say, hey, can't you shake hands harder than that? You know, and he always had a little something for everybody. But the one moment for me was in Palm Springs. And Willie and I were doing a show there, and it was at Barbara Sinatra's foundation. And Willie was the honored guest. And as we did numerous times, I would interview Willie for about 20 or 30 minutes before the audience, about 1,000 people. Al Rosen was there at that time as well. And we got to the end of the interview, and I'd never asked Willie this question before. We had done so many interviews, we kind of knew what we would say to each other. But I'd never asked him, and I said, Willie, how would you like to be remembered by the fans? And boy, for the first time, he started to cry. And the tears were coming out of his eyes, and I'm standing there next to him. I didn't know what to do. And he said, I always want to be remembered that I was there for them, that I put on the show for them, that I loved the fans, and everything I did was for them. And it's ironic today to say those words because today he's got to be remembered by everyone, and that's how he wanted to be remembered, as a showman, as someone who gave his best effort, and it was all for the fans. But for him to break down in front of me, in front of 1,000 people, and say that was the most moving moment I've ever had with him, and the most moving moment I've ever had in all the years I've done this. So that's the one for me that I'll take forever.
Well, we're going to let you go with that, Marty. Thanks so much for those words. And, hey, while you're down there, just enjoy and embrace the experience of being there. Thank you so much, Marty.
Thanks, Vern. Thanks for asking.
All right, still ahead, much more reaction to the passing of Willie Mays after the break.
Well, in light of this being such a big day, obviously, news-wise, with the passing of Willie Mays, we're just going to take a brief moment here. We are still keeping track on what is an important item in the weather world. The air quality has gone downhill today. So just a quick view. If you notice the haze in the sky today, that's another plume of smoke that we can see coming off of the Sites fire. And just a quick review. We've got moderate air quality for most of us today. So the Bay Area Air Quality Management District does have us under an air quality advisory today for smoke. It's kind of pooling up down here here in the South Bay. You see what it looks like from Mount Diablo. But just to give you an idea on how this plays out tomorrow, we're going to get some help. A little bit more of an onshore breeze. The air quality should improve tomorrow. And that's probably the most important part of this whole forecast. But since I've got about 20 seconds left with you here before we get back to our coverage, let me just show you what to expect for the 7-day forecast. You're going to get a nice little cool down tomorrow. We're going to be down to 77. These are your inland numbers. Enjoy it. Marine layer's coming back. We should have cleaner air, but we're going to warm right back up again. And all bets are off by the weekend as we see temperatures climb to the mid-90s inland once again. And it's always possible we could end up pulling more smoke in. Stay smoke aware. We'll keep you updated on air quality as we go through this together. For now, let's get back to Sarah and Vern and more of our coverage.
Darren, thank you so much. Continuing our coverage honoring the life of Willie Mays, who died today at the age of 93. We did reach out to another one of San Francisco's beloved Willies, former Mayor Willie Brown, to ask him about Mays' impact on the city.
I would never think Willie Mays would die, frankly. He was such an awesome American figure, and particularly an African American figure. Purely from an athletic standpoint, I don't think there's anybody in the history of African American sports that matches the nature of Willie Mays. He was clearly a true athlete. He was an incredible gentleman in the nature of how he did what he did when he said, "I'll play for the Giants in San Francisco." And he had to go through the trials and tribulations of an African American trying to live in the city where they had limitations that they denied. And Willie Mays traversed all of that and became a part of what changed the nature of how this nation treated baseball players. That's the history of Willie Mays.
Yeah, very impressive. He had such an impact on the city of San Francisco beyond just the game of baseball.
I know we're going to go down another aspect of him, but one thing that just kind of triggered during our interview with Marty Louie, Willie Mays, if you ever shook his hand, you remembered it, because he didn't just shake your hand. It wasn't like a little limp hand. He would squeeze. He would just crush your hand on a handshake. It was so strong and so powerful. I mean, you would try and, not well up, but after he shook your hand, you walked away, be like, ow!
Yes. We expect nothing less from somebody who could swing the bat that way. This is some video of Willie Mays' 90th birthday celebration at Oracle Park. It was his last major public appearance back in May. He's the oldest living Hall of Famer. This was a huge celebration at Oracle Park. Fans got a chance to see him, to wave at him, and to wish him happy birthday.
There he is, kind of soaking it all in. And when he tipped his cap, he didn't really mean it. I mean, yeah, he would put on a show, for the fans, but this was really heartfelt of him, being honored and just soaking in the love and just sharing, just being at the ballpark, because this was his playground. It was his office,
yes,
but it was his playground at the same time.
He was absolutely beloved at Oracle. Of course, in 2015, Willie was honored with the Presidential Medal of Freedom. That is the nation's highest civilian honor. President Barack Obama welcomed him to the White House, where it was another standing ovation for the Giants legend.
He could throw and he could field, hit for contact and for power, and of course he was so fast he could barely keep a hat on his head. On top of that, Willie also served our country, and his quiet example, while excelling on one of America's biggest stages, helped carry forward the banner of civil rights.
Yeah, all of Major League Baseball Giants fans, wherever they are, baseball fans, wherever they are in the entire Bay Area, mourning the passing of Willie Mays today, who passed away peacefully at the age of 93. San Francisco Giants breaking that news just a short time ago.
And before we sign off, there are legions of Giants fans all over just kind of thinking of, gosh, a time they met him, maybe almost met him, didn't get a chance to meet him, and now we have memories and images of the Say Hey Kid.
Yeah, we will have much more coverage on the passing of Willie Mays coming up tonight on the news at 8 o'clock on Pix Plus, 44 Cable 12, and right back here at 11 p.m.